Warning, this video may contain spoilers for the TV show or movie that we discuss in this video. If you have not yet watched the TV show or movie that this video is about, please come back to the video at a later time after you have watched the content that was discussed. You have been warned.
Rising with each beat of the music is ringing. We're flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in.
Tactical nuke incoming!
How's it going, everybody? This is Rob Novakast back with another video for you guys, and we'll be talking about, or at least reviewing, the latest Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode, which I'm going to say I'm really freaking excited to talk about this because, oh boy, there is a lot to discuss in this episode. So basically, the episode kind of continues where the last one left off, where the, I guess, officials for the, I think it was the GRC, or GRS, I can't remember the stupid acronym for it, the organization that the Flag Smashers are trying to demolish. They have the figureheads there. I say figureheads because that's, I wouldn't want to consider them that, but anyways, and they are about to, take them hostage and do whatever they want with them. At that point, Bucky is trying to make his way to the building where the Flag Smashers are about to attack, or at least are attacking, and Falcon, or Sam, is flying in with his brand new suit, wings, and his newly acquired shield, or at least, I guess, second newly acquired shield, because, again, this is the second time he's gotten to hold it, or at least after Captain America gave it to him. But anywho, so the race is on to try to save these elected officials. Falcon shows up and is stopped by the French guy, which I'm gonna say the fight between him and Frenchie is really fun to watch, especially with him. I'm gonna say especially with Sam implementing both the shield as well as his Falcon pack. And by the way, there's some really cool new stuff with this new Falcon pack, which I thought was really awesome. Which, by the way, the design close to the comics, really love it. But all in all, the new Red Wing, or I guess multiple Red Wings, is actually really cool. We get to see some of that. Bucky is fighting some of the Flag Smashers. Actually, ends up getting distracted by Carly, who has taken all of the elected officials as they're evacuating, taken them hostage in these armored vehicles and locked it so they couldn't get out, and proceeds to drive off with them. What they end up doing with them is pouring gasoline over the vehicles and proceeding to try to light the vehicles on fire with the elected officials inside. And by the way, while this is going on, Walker shows up in his Captain America getup with his, I guess, with his own shield. I have a feeling that was something in the end credits. I don't know, for the previous episode. I didn't watch the end credits. I know that and which is something I usually do anyways, which I feel stupid for not doing. But anyways, what ends up happening is there's this huge fight between Walker, some of the Flag Smashers, as well as Bucky, as they're trying to save the elected officials. Bucky's able to save, because there were two vehicles, Bucky's able to get people out of one of the vehicles. Carly, while Walker and Bucky are distracted, proceed to take the other vehicle and try to drive it off a piece of construction, by which at some point Walker, who is on the upper level of the construction where the vehicle's at, tries to save it, but isn't able to, or is incapable of doing so because he gets distracted and pulled away by some of the Flag Smashers. while Bucky and Walker on the ground level trying to fight the Flag Smashers, we have this really cool scene with Sam. I guess you know what, at this point I'm just gonna call him Captain America from now on. He's Captain America. He flies in, is trying to use his jetpack to push the now falling truck or armored vehicle back up on the railing or on the construction so it doesn't fall, and proceeds, as I mentioned, because there was like multiple Red Wing bots, they attach themselves to the car, as well as give them the extra boost to push the car back into in a safe position where it won't fall, which was really cool. And they used the Red Wing to also break the lock that was placed on the armored vehicle. Now, another thing, because I forgot, because I kind of skipped something, because there's this really cool helicopter chase, and it is, I'm going to say, Falcon obviously is, I'm just going to say this, Falcon, or Sam, is probably going to be my next favorite Captain America. I like him. I mean, especially with how they implemented him in this whole. There's this really great chase scene for a helicopter, and in between, trying to get close to the helicopter, he's getting shot at, and he's implementing the shield as he's flying around. It is so cool. There's even a point where he uses Red Wing to see if there's anybody who uses or who can pilot a helicopter. And they do this really cool maneuver where he basically, you with the shield and coordinated with the person or the elected official who can pilot the helicopter, or who knows how to pilot helicopters, proceeds to use the shield to basically jettison the freaking Flag Smasher out of the helicopter from one door to the other, so that way the elected official has a chance to grab the controls and get everybody to safety. That, I'm gonna say, is one of the coolest scenes ever in this whole thing. And with that, going back, kind of catching back up, we have this fight between Carly, Sharon, as well as. By the way, I think it's made clear. I think some people had the notion of it. I certainly did to some extent, because we get references of the power broker. We find out who the power broker is, that being Sharon, or Sharon Carter. And apparently Frenchie was also working for her. Who knew? But whatever. I guess he tries to blackmail her for more money, and he ends up getting shot, which I thought was hilarious. She's like, I don't do well with blackmail, and proceeds to just shoot him. Carly has a fight with I don't want to say fight, because so Falcon, or Captain America, it's weird saying that. It's cool, but at the same time, because we've known him as Falcon for the most part, and now we get to call him Captain America. It's weird. Again, Captain America proceeds to have this, I want to say, one-sided fight with Carly, because the entire time Carly wants him to fight back, and he doesn't. He wants her to stop and kind of think things over, but she doesn't want to. She's way far down that path where she doesn't want to think of another way of doing things. So the entire time she's telling him, fight back, why aren't you fighting back? And he's just he's taking a beating. And again, because it's one-sided. He doesn't want to fight her. He wants to try to talk to her, but she doesn't want to listen. And it inevitably ends with Sharon shooting Carly and killing her. And I'm gonna say it's really sad, because I think she realized, her last moments, realizes, at least for the character, realizes what she was doing was wrong, and to some extent realizing, that possibly Captain America Sam had good intentions, apologizes to him for what she did and passes on. And afterwards, we get this, I'm going to say this really cool speech from Captain America, Sam. After one of the elected officials decides to call, Carrie, or Carly, a terrorist. Which, by the way, after the whole confrontation, the scene after, and some of the music that plays is actually really, really freaking good. But yeah, all of the elected officials, applaud Sam for his actions, and through conversation ends up continue to call Carly and the rest of the Flag Smashers terrorists. And Sam kind of gives this really interesting speech about the motives of, or at least not discussing the motives or what has led to this point of the Flag Smashers doing what they were doing. And it was more of with people feeling oppressed, or in some sense trying, and I mean not being oppressed, but I guess you could say oppressed, especially with the treatment of the people who were refugees, people who had to deal with putting the pieces back together, and the government not supporting the people that actually need the help. So to that extent, he kind of mentions that, I mean, at this point, it's what happens if there's another, kind of brings up the fact, what if there's another Carly that shows up and decides to do worse than what she did. And at this point, what they need to do, instead of just having a group of elected officials, to discuss the issues, I mean, as a community, they need to come together and discuss the problems. Which, honestly, I think I will say I mean, he says it better. He says, I'm probably doing the whole speech disservice, but I'm going to say the speech he made was really good, because he mentions, because, and especially when they go, I guess one guy is you don't understand. No, you don't understand. He's look at me. I'm an African American who's wearing the stars and stripes. I'm freaking Captain America, or I'm taking the role as Captain America. And it's again, I'm probably doing the speech disservice by talking about it, because I think Sam says it a lot better. But I guess if anything, anybody can make a change. I think that was the major point, is that anybody can make a change, whether it be good or bad. And at this point, especially with the world now, we need to come together. I think that's what the major point of Sam's speech. So with that, the elected officials go off, do their thing. We have Sam, who is told that there's another, the Flag Smasher that he left in the river, or was still alive, so he goes to capture them, and things start to kind of die down. We have a scene where the rest of the Flag Smashers are being transported to the raft, or so we think, because before they even can get going, their vehicle, I mean, at least, the Flag Smashers that, had the super serum, their vehicle gets blown up. And we see at the distance Zemo's butler, and in the raft we see Zemo listening to the radio about what recently happened with the Flag Smashers. So to an extent, he gets satisfaction knowing that he took down the last of the super soldiers. At least, not all of them, because, again, Bucky still is around, but whatever. So, after that, we have Val with Walker, who is now in his brand new costume, dubbed the U.S. agent, and pretty much tells him, keep your phone on, in case we need to call you and stuff like that. So, that should be interesting on how things further go down the road with that. Afterwards, which I'm gonna say I was kind of interested in this particular scene, or at least when it was going to happen. Bucky finally gets closure with the old man from the first episode, who as I think it's painted clear, Bucky killed his son, and it's a hard scene. Like, I mean, it's quick, but it's a hard scene to go through because Bucky is like. He is like you can see that he is struggling to say this. Like, your son was murdered. He tells him that he was killed by the Winter Soldier, and it was me. And all we hear, like, the last thing that we hear from Bucky, at least in that conversation, is, "I had no choice." And we see, for the last section of it, Bucky, being kind of, walking out the door. Again, it is a hard scene, and especially with all the growth and, I guess, character building that we've had with Bucky throughout these last couple episodes. With him, especially trying to come to terms with what has happened to him and what he's done, especially since what he's done wasn't even in his control. So, in that regard, it is such a good scene, but at the same time, I guess very sad, because we've seen the growth that Bucky has gone through, but at the same time knows that in order to fully pass through, or at least get past all of his stuff, he had to basically make amends for one of the people that he wronged the most. And we actually see a scene where the psychiatrist that we've seen a couple times walks into her office, and there's a bag with her name on it, and in it is the book with all of the names of the people that Bucky was trying to make amends with, or at least get revenge of, crossed off. So, which I think is good. It shows that, to an extent, Bucky has moved on. At least that's what it feels like. That Bucky at this point now has moved on and wants to better himself. The last couple scenes is actually really good. We have a scene where Sam goes to see Isaiah, and they talk briefly about Captain America, or at least Sam being Captain America now, and we actually have this really good moment where Sam has Isaiah follow him to the Captain America Museum, and in it is a statue of Isaiah, with Sam basically telling him, now everybody will know what you've done for us, and forever know. And I that is such a good scene, and I'm just gonna say it. It almost made me cry. It was such a good scene, especially with you see the entire the moments we've seen Isaiah. You have this broken man who has been dealt a bad hand, being recognized for, even though he can't externally, because again, if people knew they were still alive, they'd probably kill him. But at the same time, he feels there's some recognition to what he's done, which I'm gonna say that is awesome. I appreciate that. Afterwards, we get a moment of Sam and his family and the community that his family lives with. I guess having a meal, like this really nice meal, coming together. I guess after probably fixing the boat, but all in all, it's a nice last scene for this episode. And I think this is the season finale, as far as I can remember. So, by the way, in the title, I'll probably call this episode 6 finale, but I don't know. There might be another episode, I don't know. But either way, the last scene is actually really great. Like, everybody coming together, celebrating for all the hard work they've done. I really like it. Now, going on to the end credit scene, because there was an end credit scene for this episode. We have Sharon Carter being pardoned by the U.S. government, And I'm sorry. I would feel so. I would feel so sorry for her. Was it grandmother, mother, who now is, by the way, who now is dead. Would see how far her daughter or granddaughter has gone, because as soon as she's pardoned and as soon as she's leaving the courthouse, she's calling up people like, hey, we may not have the super serum, but we now have access to a variety of other weaponry that we can get our hands on. I'm just like, oh, come on, man. I guess if anything, like with, what has happened with her becoming the power broker, I mean, that's completely changed, and now she has a window to any other technology or weaponry that, inevitably is going to be created or stored, which, let's be honest here, is going to suck. So, anywho, that was my review / spoiler discussion of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Season 1, Episode 6. I did this within 20 minutes. That's actually really cool. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any thoughts, leave your comments down below. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Peace.